Somebody asked, after so many years in the workplace, what lesson have you learned that you would like to pass on to everybody else? And mine is simple: build your real life, your true life, not your work life. And what I mean by that is we have mostly been conditioned to go to school, get a degree, get into the corporate environment, work hard, get promoted, climb the ladder, etc., etc. Except that that's not how corporate works. It's a whole different matrix that has nothing to truly do with your performance. If you're really good and excellent, you might be tolerated because they need you, but that's not how growing in corporate environment works at all. But the thing is like we dedicate so many hours, so much time, so much money, so much sanity into working towards that image for corporate, but we totally neglect our true life, which is the first of all, your relationship with God gets heavily neglected. A lot of us are married, don't have a proper relationship with our spouse, don't have a proper relationship with our children, have lost touch with good friends, or don't even have a hobby of interest or work on anything other than the job that we do. It, it is so bad that people totally identify with the job title that they have, just like what you do in a specific industry. Your title that they gave you somehow translates into everything else in life. Why would you think that just because you are a manager or a director at some place, it makes you like a manager or director in life? Makes no sense, right? But that's how we start viewing ourselves and other people. Notice every time you meet someone, how do you introduce yourself? Or how do you make them introduce themselves to you? After oh, this is my name, this is your name, the next question is like, what do you do? Why do we ask people that? And most people deflect to what do they do for work, of course, because that's the only thing they have going on. And they title, they say it proudly, like that's a badge of honor. This is who I am in the world. It's okay to be proud of what you do. But if that becomes your identity, do you see what the problem is? Because a lot of us have sacrificed true life, everything that truly matters to get to that title that means absolutely nothing outside of your office. Even in your office, you don't know, it doesn't mean as much as you think it does. You just haven't been shown the door yet. That's why you think it's that important. But truly, you're still a number in the spreadsheet. And depending on what the stakeholders want, you might be the next cut that is coming because it's about the bottom line and the money for them. So that's why I say to anybody, and that applies to everybody, no matter what job you do, unless you own the company. I don't know what your situation is, but put more focus and emphasis and strength and connection into building your true life, not your work life. Pay attention to your family, to your friends, to your interests, the things that you have as hobbies, the things that you have talents for. There's a calling that the Lord has placed on your life, and you're probably ignoring it because you went to school, got a degree, and got a certain job where you have placed your identity. That is not the true you. And when that is taken away, you will be lost. That is terrible. You saw all these examples during the Great Depression where people ended their lives because they could not stand to exist outside of who they were known as in Wall Street. Do you see how sad that is to be so tied up to your title, to your job, to your finances, and seeing that place, that office, that corporation, that job that you do as your source, that you fail to realize that the Almighty is your source. You fail to realize that your family loves you not because you make money, but because you are alive. How do we get to that point? It's an indoctrination that takes years. And unfortunately, most of us have been brought up that way. through the school system, through internship, through your first job, and how your family responds to you when you don't have a career, when you're not married, when you don't have kids. Everything is tied to that. And it's a sad thing. You have got to learn to put boundaries. Yes, excel at something. If you love what you do, go for it, build something. We still need to do that. But we need to understand that that is not all you are. Make Give the best of yourself to the work that you do, but put boundaries on it so it doesn't take everything that you are. You still need to build your relationship with your family, spend time with your children, with your spouse. Do something and spend time in the Word of God. How do you expect to go through life without looking at the manual, the roadmap that is given to you? A lot of things could be avoided if we just spend enough time with the Lord, have a real communion and relationship, and talk to Him about these things and have the wisdom to know how to act instead of going through that whole turmoil in your head, going through anxiety and stress. All these things is like, oh, life is busy, too many decisions, too many tasks. Why? Because you have decided to be your own provider. You have decided that your company and your job title is your source. You have decided that your entire existence revolves around these things instead of your creator. That's why you feel that weight. Do you know this? Paul said in, I think it's what chapter? Let me see. I had it written down. Romans 7, verse 15. I do not understand what I do. And I was like, dude, we are already on the same page. I don't understand what I do sometimes. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, I do. How many of you can identify with that? It lets you know there's a spiritual dimension to the things that we're living, and ignoring it is not going to help you at all. There's a spiritual weight on everybody around the nations, around countries, that cloud you into thinking, making you just do the things that you don't want to do. But the things you know are good for you to do, you don't. And you have to fight against that. The only way to fight against that is for you to develop that strong relationship with God and be very consistent with it. Otherwise, you will be lost and in that whirlwind of anxiety and stress that everybody else has. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying being conscious about how you spend your time and what you put as emphasis and importance in your life is the first step. Your job is not your source. It's just a place where you go to get a paycheck to support your family. Your job title is not who you are. It's just what they call you at work. The minute they cut you out of there, you are no longer that. So who are you outside of your job? Who are you outside of your work title? Who are you? You have to figure that out. And anything that that God did not tell you you are, and you are claiming as your identity, is a lie that's going to cause you to suffer so much more in life. So everybody needs to just pause, take a deep breath, and try to recalibrate and understand no matter what you went to school for, what degree you got, and what you think you know, how much of an expert you are at whatever field, good for you. That's not the problem. Understand that the way we were indoctrinated into society itself is a lie. Even though you have some truth that makes you exist within that lie, the lie is still the prevalent thing, reality that most of us have to fight through. So you need to put some good boundaries and start building the true relationship that you need to develop, and put your time, put your dedication, put your heart into the things that truly matter. So that would be my advice for people. And I'm curious to see what other people have to say.